Assalamualaikum and very good evening to Dr. Ni Muhammad Rizal. My name is Sharif Hidayatullah bin Muhammad. Today I would like to present about the Marine Lab SKMO4941 resistant test and ship model MTC115. We are from the group 11. So my group members are Wong Soo-woon and Vinod Kumar Analakimovin. As for the introduction, ship resistance test is the theory in predicting the ship performance from preliminary experiments with models. The importance of the ship resistance test is to determine the amount of engine power that will enable the ship to meet its operational requirements. Ship resistance is a force that needed to tow the ship in calm water conditions at certain speed or at its design speed. Resistance of the ship may come from the structure in frictional force due to the roughness of the surface or its solid condition. Before we proceed to the experiment, we have to create a ship model of MTC115 by using planking method. Firstly, we use line span drawing and take the body plan, scale it, print and template. Second, cut plywood according to the station template. Third, arrange all the plywood according to the location in X direction. Fourth, add plank to form the hull using glue. Fifth, use a sandpaper to smooth the hull of the ship model. Lastly, pin and marking process. For figure 1 is the picture for the line span drawing. For picture 2 is the station preparation for the ship model. For figure 3 is the painting and coating process for the ship model. For the problem statement, number 1 is which is the best method in determining the resistance, either using ITTC 1957 or ITTC 1978. Second, what is the total resistance test of the passenger vessel? So, the objective is to design and execute a resistance test on a model of passenger vessel and obtain total resistance for a full-scale ship.
I'm Wong Soo-woon. I'm going to present about the apparatus needed for the resistance test and also the methodology of the resistance test. So here, showing the several apparatus needed for the experiment. Firstly, the ship model MTC115, weighing scale, towing tank in MTC UTM, towing carriage, transducer, ballast weight, moment inertia equipment, thermometer, and also dust system, which is called data acquisition and analyzing system. So here is the methodology of the resistance test. So before the test has started, we have to prepare the ship model in appropriate scale. The ship model size is usually determined based on ship requirements by the clients and also carriage speed as well as the tank size. Next, the real ship's particular and hydrostatic properties are given at sea water density. So correction need to be made in order to obtain the ship's displacement at dock water density. Next, the ship model is weighed on the weighing scale to obtain the displacement of the model ship in order to ensure that the initial weight of the ship's model provided is exactly same as the calculated displacement of the ship model. Next, for the towing tank, we have to measure the temperature of the water in the towing tank and also get the dimension of the tank. So before the test has started, we have to do a swinging test also. The purpose is to determine the kg of the ship and make sure that the mark draft, which is the T on the surface of the ship model, is observed before the test. So to observe whether it is exactly parallel to the waterline. And this is for during the test. So during the test, we need to calibrate the transducer and connect the transducer to the gimbal on extrude, showing in the first diagram. Here the transducer. and also attach the ship model that has already carried out swing tests to the extrude at the towing carriage. Then level the gimbal at the extrude so that it is parallel to the kg of the ship model. Next step is set the towing speeds according to the 6 successively increased Fred numbers calculated with the feedback control system of the towing carriage. And then connect the transducer to the dust system. And we have to be alert that make sure the water is in calm condition before the test has started, and also set zero value to all the transducer reading. So here showing for the resistance test. Conduct the test at given 6 different calculated model speed, each at one time after the water is in a calm condition. Then we have to observe the reading shown at the transducer. After the test, we have to record the ship speed and total resistance at suggested speed given by our lecturer. And also, the recorded data will be stored in Excel file showing in the figure here. And lastly, plot the required graph in order to get value for further calculations and results.
This is the result for the experiment. From the data given, a few graph is plotted, which is the model resistance Rm versus time, Q versus time, pitch versus time, and also model speed Vm versus time. The result of total resistance for ITTC 1957 is converted from kilonewton to kilogram by dividing with 9.81. A graph of ship total resistance in Newton versus ship speed is plotted. The graph of ship total resistance in kilogram versus ship speed is also plotted. From both graphs, we can see when the ship speed increases, the resistance of the ship will also increase. From the total resistance calculation, we can also determine the effective power of the ship. So this is the graph of ship effective power, PE, versus ship speed. As we can see here, when the ship speed increases, the ship effective power will also increase. So this is the result for ITTC 1978. As we can see here, the total resistance is in Newton, kilonewton, and kilogram. So this is the graph of ship total resistance versus ship speed. The pattern is also the same here. As the ship speed increase, the ship resistance will also increase. This is the graph for kilogram. The pattern is also similar here. In ITDC 1978, we can also calculate the effective power from the total resistance calculation. And this is the graph of ship effective power versus ship speed. The effective power increase as the ship speed increase. This is the discussion for this experiment. In this experiment, there are two methods used, which is ITTC 1957 and ITTC 1978. In this experiment, the speed of ship is changed so that we can find the resistance of the ship. From the result obtained, a few graph is plotted. From the graph, we can see the relationship between the ship resistance and speed. As we can see from the graph, when the ship speed increase, the resistance will also increase. This is because when the ship speed increase, the boundary layer thickness will increase. The transition point between the laminar and turbulent flow move closer to the bow of the ship, thus resulting in the increase of the frictional resistance. From the calculation of the resistance, we can also calculate the effective power of the ship. To compare both methods, it can be said that ITTC 1978 has better accuracy for resistance estimation. This is due to the fact that ITTC 1978 have form factor. To conclude this experiment, we can say that the objective of this experiment has been achieved. Through this experiment, we are able to find the ship resistance through calculation from the experiment data. From the graph plotted, it can be deduced that the overall resistance increase as the speed of the ship increase. We can also see that when the resistance increase, the effective power of the ship will also increase. Thank you.